Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. The gentle sound of the oud drifts through the misty morning air in Istanbul, where the golden domes of the Topkapi Palace glint beneath the first rays of sunlight. The breeze from the Bosphorus brings with it the faint scent of orange blossoms and cinnamon, mingling with the soft rustle of silk robes as eunuchs hurry down endless corridors. Now, picture yourself, not as a mighty warrior or a wise vizier, not as a wealthy merchant or an honored guest, but as something else entirely. A male concubine in the Sultan's palace. Perhaps you've dreamed of palace life, the luxury, the splendor, the endless banquets and beautiful faces. Gold, laughter, music, and soft candlelight dancing off gilded ceilings. That's the fantasy Hollywood sells. But the truth, as it has always been in places of absolute power, is so much darker and so much harder to survive. Behind those heavy marble doors, past the shimmering halls and ornate gardens, lies a world built on fear and silence. Here, every breath might carry the scent of danger, and every glance could spark a deadly intrigue. You think a day in the harem starts with a rose petal bath, with harp music and gentle hands? Not here. You wake up in a cold, dim room with no windows, its ceiling low and air thick. Your mattress is a worn wool blanket on a stone floor, your pillow lumpy and gray. Around you, dozens of other young men begin to stir, their faces gaunt and tense. No one dares speak first in this place. Even silence is a form of self-defense. The first thing you feel is isolation, the kind that gnaws at your heart and makes your memories ache. It's not just homesickness. It's the knowledge that, from the moment you arrived here, everything that made you, your name, your story, your dreams was erased. Your old life has vanished. You're now just a number, a whispered nickname chosen by the chief eunuch, to be used at roll call or when a handmaiden needs someone for a menial errand. Maybe you were an Italian boy stolen from the Mediterranean coast, or a Persian youth taken as tribute by a scheming general, or even a young Arab given up to please the Sultan. It doesn't matter. Your past is forbidden here. In this palace, your value is measured only by how well you disappear into. The crowd dot. Do you remember laughing freely with friends by the river? Your mother's gentle lullabies? Those days are gone. Now, all you hear is the echo of guards' boots on cold marble and the heavy silence of young men stripped of family and future. Here, love is a distant memory, and happiness, if it ever comes, must be carefully hidden away. Most male concubines arrived as children. They are shaped by years of strict training. How to walk softly, how to speak quietly, how never to draw attention. One mistake can bring punishment, and here, mercy is in short supply not each morning. Your greatest fear is that you might not survive to see the next sunrise. That fear seeps into your dreams and stiffens your limbs when you wake. You never know who you can trust. Everyone here has learned to smile through jealousy and betrayal. One careless word, one misplaced look, and you could be cast out, or worse. Maybe you think you're strong, clever, brave. In the harem, none of that matters. Strength won't save you. Beauty and talent mean nothing if you can't keep your head down. A day here is an endless test of endurance, patience, and the will to survive. So, are you ready? Ready to enter a world where every breath could be your last, and where vanishing without a trace is the fate of most. If you still dream of palace luxury, prepare yourself for the truth. You probably wouldn't last a single day. The heavy door slams shut behind you. Your day has begun, and so has the hardest survival challenge you'll ever face. The blaring of a clarion horn jolts you awake, echoing down the maze-like marble halls. Dawn has barely touched the city, yet Topkapi Palace is already stirring, preparing for another day that will test your limits at every turn. You don't wake up on a soft bed covered in silk. but on a fraying wool mat spread over freezing stone. The air is damp, heavy with the scent of mildew and sweat from dozens of bodies crammed into a single cramped room. Thin shafts of light creep through the cracks above the door, casting a gray pallor over the gaunt figures struggling to sit up. Quietly, each movement measured and careful, as if afraid to awaken something dangerous. Privacy doesn't exist here. That is the first privilege you lose as a male concubine. Every morning, you wake up surrounded by other silent boys, each trying to shrink themselves down, to stay small, to avoid attention. Out in the corridor, you hear the familiar shuffle of the eunuch's unmistakable and chilling warning, everyone. That discipline is constant and escape is impossible. Your day doesn't begin with birdsong, but with a harsh command. Up, line up. The chief eunuch's voice cuts through the silence, and everyone instantly scrambles to obey. You roll off your scratchy mat, line up along the narrow walkway. Move too slowly? You risk being yanked out and punished. Move too fast? You might be accused of plotting something. Even the most exhausted must hide it. Fatigue is seen as weakness, and weakness is dangerous. After strict roll call, where every name and face is checked, every bruise and scar inspected, the boys are marched off to wash up. But bathing here is not a privilege. It is a ritual of humiliation and surveillance. The communal bathhouse is cold and echoing, with only a trickle of water in each bucket. You wait in a shivering line, clutching your tiny towel, never daring to speak or turn your back on the guards. Every inch of your skin is scrutinized for signs. Anything unusual might mean you're hiding something or have been abused. Even the smallest mark can mean an interrogation. Or worse. Here, safety means being invisible. You must learn to do everything quietly, quickly, and without attracting attention. Don't be too clean or too dirty. Both can get you in trouble. When you're done, you dry off as quickly as possible and put on the plain linen uniform, a shapeless robe that hides your body from neck to ankles. It doesn't matter if it's itchy in summer or suffocating in winter. The purpose is to erase individuality, to turn everyone into faceless servants of the Sultan's absolute will. You might imagine that mornings bring new hope, but in the harem, the morning is just another ordeal. No one asks, "Are you okay?" No one cares about your dreams or fears. Emotions are luxuries, and showing them is dangerous. After washing up, you file into the common room for breakfast, a thin, watery porridge, maybe with a hint of onion, or just plain rice gruel, plus a crust of stale bread. The food is portioned out precisely. Eat too slowly, you're scolded. Too quickly, you're watched with suspicion, as if you might be planning an escape. The room is silent, except for the clink of spoons on bowls, the quiet sighs of hunger, and the barely audible prayers of boys who've long given up hope. Every morning is a test of endurance, the will to withstand loneliness, hunger, cold, and the ever-present threat of punishment. When breakfast ends, everyone is assigned to a daily task: cleaning, rehearsing music, serving a guest, or, rarely, being summoned before the Sultan. No one knows what their day will bring. Schedules are secrets. Surprises are often traps. You quickly realize that every day here is the same endless morning, a suspended state between fear and hope, between survival and self-denial. You learn to wake up expecting nothing but more of the same. Relentless rules, total obedience, and the hope that you'll fade into the background. If you ever let yourself hope that tomorrow might be better, the cold footsteps of the chief eunuch. Each morning will remind you. In the Ottoman harem, a new day is just another repetition of yesterday's suffering, and survival is the only reward. If you've made it through the morning, you might think the worst is over. You would be wrong. In the Ottoman harem, the real challenge is not surviving hunger or cold, but surviving the endless, soul-crushing rules and the invisible, unbreakable grip of those who enforce them. Every move you make is monitored. The palace is a living maze of eyes and ears. The chief eunuch and his assistants, the guards, the older concubines who would do anything for a favor, and even the palace cats, always prowling and watching. Here, no act goes unnoticed. You are never alone, even in your own mind. The most important law in this place is absolute obedience. Every word, every gesture, every glance has meaning and consequences. Your job, from the moment you wake, is to become invisible, to speak only when spoken to listen and memorize every order, no matter how trivial or contradictory. There are rules for how to stand, how to walk, how to bow, even how to breathe when you're in the presence of someone powerful. Make eye contact with the wrong person, punishment. Speak out of turn, or let your voice tremble when reciting your name at roll call, punishment. Even the smallest show of defiance, raising an eyebrow, rolling your eyes, looking sad or angry, for a second too long can be reported and used against you. Here, the smallest mistake can cost you your position, your safety, sometimes even your life. Surveillance is everywhere. The chief eunuch, a figure both feared and respected, is the true ruler of the harem. He carries a ledger of names, a list of every offense, real or imagined, and a memory sharp as a razor. He has the power to summon, question, reassign, or punish anyone at any time. His loyal underlings report every whisper, every rumor, every secret tear shed behind a closed door. But the threat does not come only from above. The other concubines are both your neighbors and your competitors. In this world, friendship is a dangerous luxury. Every boy is fighting for survival, sometimes for a scrap of privilege, sometimes just for a bit of kindness from the guards, sometimes for the slim hope of being noticed by the Sultan himself. Gossip, betrayal, and backstabbing are daily realities. Your greatest rival could be the boy who sleeps beside you, or the one who offers you half his bread at breakfast. Every interaction is a test. Are you respectful enough? Not too friendly? Not too cold? Did you answer the eunuch's question quickly, but not so quickly that you seem arrogant or desperate? Did you bow low enough? Did you use the correct honorific? Did you avoid looking at the forbidden faces, the women of the Sultan's harem, the high-ranking courtiers, the Sultan himself, unless ordered to? You are not allowed to speak to women. Not the Sultan's wives, not the princesses, not even the serving girls. A careless word, a glance, even a hint of a smile in the wrong direction can mean disaster. To protect the harem's secrecy and the Sultan's pride, the rules are enforced with brutal consistency. Even the hint of a rumor can destroy you. Your clothing, too, is dictated by strict codes. You wear what you are told when you are told. There is no choosing colors or fabrics. There is only the official uniform, designed to erase individuality. No jewelry, no perfume, no personal touches, nothing to remind you of who you once were. Hair must be kept short or tied back. Nails are checked for cleanliness. Sometimes you are lined up and inspected for any sign of vanity or rebellion. The punishment for breaking the dress code is immediate and harsh. A beating, isolation, extra chores, or even worse. What you eat, where you sit, what you say, when you speak. How you move, all of it is governed by invisible rules. Every day is a rehearsal for perfection. There is no margin for error. The system is designed to strip you of your sense of self, to reduce you to a perfectly obedient, perfectly forgettable part of the palace machinery. Emotions must be hidden at all costs. If you are scared, you must not show it. If you are sad, you must hide it. Tears are forbidden. Laughter is suspicious. Even joy is dangerous. Too much happiness can draw the wrong kind of attention. leading others to think you found a secret or broken a rule. The safest emotion in the harem is none at all. Some nights, lying awake on your hard mat, you might remember the world outside, the sun on your face, your mother's voice, the thrill of running in an open field. Here, those memories feel like dangerous dreams. You quickly learn to bury them, to forget. You tell yourself you are no one. You are nothing. Just a shadow, passing through the halls, hoping not to be noticed. But forgetting who you are doesn't keep you safe. The palace is full of traps, political games, jealous rivals, bored guards looking for someone to blame. The Sultan's moods shift like the wind, and what is praised today might be forbidden tomorrow. To survive, you must become a master of reading faces, of sensing changes in the air, of knowing when to speak and when to vanish. This is the iron law of the harem. Absolute control, absolute submission, absolute fear. A single misstep can mean humiliation, violence, or a silent disappearance in the night. You don't have friends here. You don't have choices. All you can do is follow the rules and pray that today is not the day your luck runs out. In this world, you begin to understand a hard truth. Surviving a day is not about strength or beauty or even luck. It is about discipline, silence, and the endless suppression of your own humanity. And as the palace bell tolls, signaling the start of the day's next round of duties and inspections, you take a deep breath, careful not to let it sound too shaky, and step forward, hoping you can make it through another day in the Sultan's impossible, inescapable world. If you think that food and comfort might offer you some solace here, think again. The daily routine of a male concubine in the Ottoman harem is designed not for pleasure, but for control, obedience, and constant tension. Every hour, every meal, every moment of rest is a carefully orchestrated test. Breakfast is a grim affair. You are not woken by gentle hands or the aroma of sweet coffee, but by the echoing commands of the eunuchs. You march in silence to the common room, shoulders hunched, eyes down. The meal waiting for you is barely more than a gesture, a thin, watery porridge that might carry a hint of onion or garlic, and a crust of dry, flavorless bread. There is no variety, no luxury, and certainly no feasting. You eat what you're given. Asking for more or refusing food is an act of rebellion, one that never ends well. The food is not just simple, but strictly rationed. Each portion is measured, each bowl counted. Everything is inspected for poison, not because anyone fears for your life, but because the safety of the harem is always in question. The taste of the food doesn't matter. Only the act of eating does. It's about submission. It's about routine. Meals are never social. You are not allowed to talk, laugh, or share stories. There are no friends here. The only sounds are the clink of wooden spoons against bowls, the occasional cough, and the quiet footsteps of the eunuchs as they patrol the room. If anyone breaks the silence, the punishment is swift. A public scolding, loss of rations, or worse, being singled out for extra chores or harsh interrogation. After breakfast, you are divided into work groups. The assignments change daily, keeping everyone off balance. Some days you are sent to sweep the endless marble corridors, your knees aching from scrubbing floors that will never stay clean. Other days you are forced to practice music or dance, not for your own enjoyment, but to perfect performances for the Sultan's amusement or for the entertainment of foreign guests. You may spend hours in the laundry, your hands raw from washing heavy robes in cold water, or you might be sent to the kitchens, peeling vegetables under the watchful eyes of guards. There is no free time. Any moment not filled with work is filled with waiting, and even waiting is a kind of torment. You sit in the common room, forbidden to speak or play games, forbidden even to look out the windows. The walls are blank and colorless, the air heavy with boredom and anxiety. You never know when your name will be called, or for what purpose. Sometimes you are summoned to perform a song or recite a poem. Other times you are sent to be inspected, questioned, or punished for some minor infraction. Your body is not your own. You are inspected regularly for cleanliness, injuries, or any sign that you are not presentable. Bruises or marks bring questions and suspicion. The eunuchs watch for signs of rebellion or despair, any hint that you might be planning to escape or worse, to harm yourself. They check your hair, your nails, even your breath. A single slip is enough to get you sent to isolation or assigned to the most humiliating duties. Every evening, you must repeat the rituals of cleanliness and obedience. Bathing is not about comfort, but about discipline. You line up in silence. Take your turn under cold water and dress again in the assigned uniform. At night, the lights are dimmed early. You curl up on your thin mat, surrounded by the sound of dozens of others breathing, shifting, sometimes quietly weeping in the dark. There is no comfort, no warmth, only exhaustion, and the constant ache of fear. Leisure is forbidden. You are not allowed to sing for fun, or tell jokes, or dream out loud. There are no books, no games, no way to pass the time except waiting for the next command. Even art and music, if allowed at all, are strictly controlled and meant only for display. You are not a person here. You are a piece of the Sultan's collection, valued only for obedience and the ability to fade into the background. Relationships are dangerous. Any attempt to form a friendship, to whisper secrets or share hopes, is seen as a threat. Spies are everywhere. The eunuchs encourage rivalries, rewarding those who inform on others. Jealousy is constant. Competition is fierce, and betrayal is a daily risk. The only safe thing is to be silent, to be forgettable, to keep your head down and your thoughts locked away. The threat of punishment hangs over every hour. The Sultan's moods are unpredictable. A joke that brings laughter today might bring anger tomorrow. An act that earns praise one week might be condemned the next. A palace is a world built on shifting sands. One moment you might be chosen to serve at a banquet or help prepare a special celebration. The next you might be dragged away for questioning, accused of something you never even considered. There is no appeal, no justice, only the will of those above you. Night brings no relief. The dreams of freedom, of family, of a world beyond these walls, are quickly crushed by the reality of another day ahead. You are always watched, always measured, always controlled. The rarest gift in the harem is a moment of true privacy, a chance to remember who you once were before you became a prisoner of silk and stone. Survival in this world means accepting the rules, enduring the humiliations, and learning to want nothing. You eat what you are given, wear what you are told, speak only when it is safe, and dream only in secret. In the Ottoman harem, you do not live. You persist. You endure. And if, by some miracle, you make it to the end of the day without punishment or disgrace, you count yourself lucky. Because here, luck is the only thing that separates you from disappearance. In the Ottoman harem, fear is as present as the air you breathe. It sits in your stomach with every meal, creeps through your dreams at night, and sharpens your senses each waking moment. No place in the palace is truly safe, for around every corner and behind every gentle smile, there is the lurking possibility of betrayal, punishment, or sudden doom. Competition is constant and merciless. Among the dozens, sometimes hundreds, of male concubines, each handpicked for youth, beauty, or talent, everyone is both a neighbor and a rival. Only a select few ever gain the Sultan's notice, and the rest must fight for crumbs of favor or even simple survival. The desire to stand out can become an obsession. The fear of standing out for the wrong reason is even stronger every day. You feel the tension humming beneath every word and gesture. The glances exchanged in the common room, the subtle jockeying for the best work assignments, even the order in which food is distributed all are part of a silent battle for status. Sometimes even a whispered rumor, a jealous accusation, or a fabricated story is enough to ruin someone's life. The harem's atmosphere is thick with suspicion. Who is truly your friend, and who is hoping you'll fall so they can rise? Plotting and manipulation are the natural language here. The eunuchs, for all their power, often turn a blind eye or even encourage petty betrayals. They know that a divided harem is a manageable harem. They reward informants with privileges, an extra portion of food, a night of lighter duties, a rare, kind word. In return, they receive a steady stream of secrets and accusations. You learn quickly that trusting anyone is a luxury. You cannot afford dot. It is not only your rivals who might plot against you. Sometimes, simply catching the Sultan's eye brings a new level of risk. Today's favorite can become tomorrow's outcast. If a rumor of disloyalty or impropriety finds its way to the throne room, the Sultan's moods change with the wind, and a single misstep, a clumsy performance, an ill-timed glance, even an unlucky resemblance to a disgraced predecessor can lead to disaster. Punishments are swift and harsh. There is no trial, no defense, no second chance. If you are accused of breaking a rule talking to someone forbidden, stealing, disrespecting a superior, or worst of all, attempting to escape the consequences are immediate. Minor infractions bring public humiliation, kneeling on cold marble for hours, beaten with sticks, paraded in front of others as a warning. More serious offenses can mean solitary confinement, a dark, airless cell where you are left to wonder if you will ever see daylight again. Some punishments are designed not just to hurt, but to break your spirit. You might be assigned the most degrading chores, forced to beg forgiveness from your rivals, or denied food for days. And the gravest punishments are delivered without ceremony. If you are believed to have plotted against the Sultan or threatened the security of the harem, you may simply disappear. One evening, you are there. By morning, your mat is empty, your name struck from the list, your memory erased from conversation. Those who remain quickly learn not to ask questions. In the harem, curiosity is dangerous. Fear breeds silence, and silence breeds loneliness. You learn to keep your head down, your voice low, your dreams locked deep inside. Even a sigh or a moment of visible sorrow might invite scrutiny. Does he regret his fate? Is he planning something desperate? Your body and your emotions must be as controlled as your words. You become an expert at hiding everything: pain, joy, hunger, longing, anger. In time, you almost forget what it was like to feel safe. There are no appeals to justice here. The eunuch's word is law, and the Sultan's will is absolute. Even the smallest mistake, a torn uniform, a broken dish, a mispronounced word, can be interpreted as disrespect. If the Sultan is in a bad mood, entire rooms can be punished at once, guilty and innocent alike. No one is immune. Your best hope is invisibility. Stories spread quickly tales of a boy who smiled at the wrong person, or who dared to protest his innocence, or who was found praying in the wrong language, or weeping alone after midnight. No one knows exactly what became of them. Some say they were sent to the deepest dungeons, others that they were quietly killed, their bodies dumped in the Bosphorus by night. The truth is less important than the lesson. Never draw attention. Never trust a friend. Never, ever break the rules. This constant atmosphere of suspicion takes a terrible toll on the mind. You start to doubt yourself, question your own memories and motivations. Was that a friendly look or a warning? Did you say too much in yesterday's conversation? Did someone overhear? The lines between caution and paranoia blur, until every moment is shadowed by fear. And yet, somehow, life in the harem continues. Even under the weight of terror, the concubines go about their chores, perfect their performances, and present their best selves for inspection. It becomes a kind of dance, a grim ritual in which survival depends on reading the hidden signals, on keeping your secrets, and never, ever showing weakness. Some, tragically, cannot bear it. Despair and mental illness haunt the dormitories. There are boys who try to end their own lives, or who fall sick and never recover. There is no help, no comfort. The harem is not a place for healing. It is a place for endurance. And yet, day after day, you wake up and do it all again. You swallow your fear, master your expressions, and move through the marble corridors with silent footsteps. Every decision is a calculation. Say less, move quietly, give nothing away. If you make it through the day without becoming a target, you count it as a victory, however small. This is life in the Ottoman harem, a constant test of nerves, a world where the only certainty is uncertainty, and the only true skill is survival. As the days in the Ottoman harem pass, sometimes crawling, sometimes vanishing without memory, different kind of suffering sets in. It isn't the fear of punishment, or even the constant competition. It is the overwhelming, suffocating loneliness and the slow, almost invisible loss of your own identity. You are always surrounded by people, yet completely alone. Every day you wake in a room packed with others, shuffle in line with them to wash, eat, and work, hear their breathing at night. But in truth, you might as well be a ghost. Everyone is afraid. Everyone keeps to themselves, eyes lowered, lips sealed. In this place, intimacy is dangerous, and trust is a risk few dare to take. Conversations are short, cautious, empty of meaning. Every smile is a mask, every friendly gesture a calculated gamble. You feel your memories start to slip away. The faces of family, mother, father, siblings become less distinct with each passing week. Their voices grow faint, and their names blur at the edges. You try to recall the scent of your old home, the warmth of sunlight in your childhood courtyard, the sound of laughter. But the harem fills your senses with cold stone, stale air, silence, and suspicion. Home becomes a dream that fades when you wake. Your very name is taken from you. When you entered the palace, you were assigned a new name or number, something short and impersonal. The guards and eunuchs use it when calling you for duties or roll call. Over time, your true name, spoken with love by your mother, whispered in prayers at night, feels almost like a story you once heard, rather than something that belonged to you. The palace's rules don't just change how you act. They rewrite who you are. You lose all sense of privacy. Nothing is yours, not even your thoughts. You sleep in a shared room, your mat pressed against others. The bathrooms, the laundry, the halls all are public spaces, watched by guards or by rivals looking for a weakness to exploit. You have no safe corner, no diary, no place to retreat. And be yourself. Even the inside of your mind begins to feel like occupied territory, constantly invaded by the need to be careful, quiet, invisible. You are not allowed to mourn, to hope, or to dream aloud. If you cry at night, you do it silently, your face buried in your blanket so that no one will notice. If you smile, it must be small and brief, or it will be noticed and questioned. If you remember something funny from your old life, you dare not laugh out loud. Happiness in this place is suspicious. Sadness even more so. The best way to survive is to show nothing. The endless routine becomes numbing. Wake, eat, work, bathe, sleep, always by the clock, always in formation, always under scrutiny. You rarely see the sky, never feel the wind except for a brief gust when a door is opened. There are no seasons in the harem, only endless repetition. marked by the tolling of bells and the barking of orders. The world outside shrinks until it hardly seems real. The isolation is not only physical, but spiritual. Whatever faith you had is hard to practice here. The rituals of prayer and worship are strictly controlled, and sometimes forbidden altogether for the concubines. Your spiritual life, like your emotional life, becomes a matter of secrecy and fear. You begin to wonder, does anyone remember me? Will anyone mourn when I am gone? If I vanish, will it matter to anyone in the world outside these walls? Some try to hold on to their old identity, secretly repeating their true name before sleep or carving a small mark into the underside of their mat. Some find brief comfort in a whispered prayer, a remembered lullaby, or a stolen glance at the moon through a high window. But these acts of self-preservation are fleeting, and even they can feel dangerous if noticed by the wrong person. Loneliness becomes your most loyal companion. Even in a room full of people, you feel invisible, isolated, erased. You watch your old self slip away, day by day. The boy who loved to run, who dreamed of adventure, who sang to his sister or told stories to his friends. He is still there, somewhere deep inside, but harder to reach with every sunrise. The others change too. You see it in the dullness of their eyes, the caution of their steps, the way they shrink into themselves. The harem does not reward individuality. It crushes it. The ones who last the longest are those who adapt best, who accept the emptiness, who stop fighting for a sense of self. The cost of survival is high. You keep your head down, follow orders, and let the days blur together. Maybe you tell yourself that you will remember who you are when you are finally free. Maybe you hope that freedom will come. But for now, you survive by forgetting, by becoming what the palace demands, silent, obedient, blank dot at night. As you lie awake on your thin mat, you sometimes wonder if you are still real. You stare at the ceiling, counting cracks in the stone. You try to recall your old home, your mother's voice, the person you once were. Some nights, you manage to conjure a faint memory, a song, a face, a feeling, and you hold it close, letting it warm you, just for a moment. But then the morning horn blares again, and the day begins anew. You bury your secret self a little, deeper, and prepare to do it all again. In the Ottoman harem, the greatest punishment is not always pain or hunger, but the slow, silent erasure of your soul. The cruelest fate is to survive, not as yourself, but as a shadow of who you once were. After weeks, months, or even years inside the Sultan's harem, the hunger for something beautiful, some comfort, some kindness, never really disappears. You might imagine, in the quiet darkness before dawn, or in those rare, unguarded moments, that perhaps love is possible here. But in the Ottoman harem, even love is a dangerous illusion, and survival always comes with a hidden price. Love here is never simple. The harem is not a place for affection or true romance. The idea that anyone could form a deep connection in a world built on suspicion and obedience seems almost absurd. You see longing in the eyes of others, a quick smile exchanged between two concubines, or a stolen glance between a servant and a eunuch, but these moments are rare and risky. To care too much about anyone is to give someone else power over you, a weakness to be exploited, a reason for jealousy or betrayal. Some still try. In secret, two boys might share whispered stories of their pasts, or sit close together for warmth on cold nights. Maybe one sneaks an extra piece of bread to another, or they exchange tiny gifts. A carved button, a scrap of colored thread, a fragment of music hummed when no one else is listening. These gestures offer brief comfort, but always under the threat of discovery. If a eunuch or rival notices, even an innocent friendship can be twisted into a charge of conspiracy, forbidden romance, or worse. The Sultan himself is both a source of hope and dread. For a handful of concubines, the ultimate goal is to be noticed, to be chosen for the Sultan's attention. Some believe this might bring comfort, security, even favor. But in reality, being singled out is a double-edged sword. The Sultan's interests are unpredictable and fleeting. Yesterday's favorite may be tomorrow's cast-off. To win his notice is to become a target not just for his affection, but for the envy and hostility of everyone else. Those chosen by the Sultan often find themselves more isolated than ever. They are kept apart, watched more closely, and expected to perform whatever roles or tasks are demanded. Their every action is scrutinized. If they fail to please, or if rumors of infidelity or disloyalty arise, they risk punishment or disappearance. Even genuine affection, if it ever existed, is swallowed up by the endless calculations of survival and the palace's merciless politics. True love is replaced by performance. Smiles are rehearsed, laughter is forced, and every act of intimacy is tinged with anxiety. Even kindness is calculated. Who can help you? Who might betray you? The desire for touch, warmth, or understanding never leaves, but it becomes a source of pain, a reminder of everything that's missing. You see this cost written on the faces around you. Some boys harden themselves, closing off any feeling, becoming experts at indifference. Others retreat into fantasy, telling themselves stories of rescue, reunion, or escape. A few fall in love with the idea of love itself, treasuring every small kindness as if it might last forever. Most, though, simply endure, trading hopes for habits and letting the days pass in a gray blur. The cost of survival is high. To live in the harem, you must protect yourself, not just from punishment, but from heartbreak. Trust becomes a dangerous luxury. Even the simplest human connections, friendship, laughter, a sympathetic glance, are shadowed by suspicion. You learn to guard your heart as fiercely as you guard your body. At the same time, the longing for love never truly fades. It lives on in memories of home, in fragments of lullabies, in the hope that someday someone will care about you for who you are, not just what you can offer. Sometimes you see someone break a boy who risks a forbidden friendship, who dares to show affection or sorrow. More often than not, these stories end in punishment, exile, or worse. Yet still, the dream of love persists. In the dark, you might whisper your true name, remember the softness of your mother's hands, or imagine a future where you are seen and loved again. These secret dreams give you strength, even as the palace does everything it can to crush them. But the cost is always waiting. To survive, you must harden yourself, bury your desires, and accept that here, love is not freedom. It's a vulnerability, a danger, a wound that never truly heals. The price for safety is steep. You trade your hopes for numbness, your longing for silence, and your heart for a mask you must wear every day. That every survivor in the harem pays this price. Some lose themselves in routine, forgetting what they once hoped for. Some carry silent grief, unable to mourn. A few become cunning, playing the palace game for every advantage, using others before being used themselves. No one escapes unscathed. And so you go on, day after day, navigating the labyrinth of power, fear, and desire, knowing that true love is only a memory or a dream that you must keep locked deep inside. Here in the Sultan's harem, the illusion of love is the sweetest, cruelest punishment of all. In the end, you realize that survival itself is a kind of love, one you give to yourself, fiercely, stubbornly, in defiance of everything this place tries to take from you. Ready for part 8. The final lesson. Why you wouldn't survive a day as a male concubine in the Ottoman Empire? Or would you like a deep dive into a specific theme? Rebellion, escape, the role of eunuchs, etc.? Download as audio band G Noi. Tip tic finate ChatGPT G Noi. Here is part 8, the final lesson. Why you wouldn't survive a day as a male concubine in the Ottoman Empire. About 1,000 words. Clear, moving, and drawing together. All the story's emotional threads. So after all these chapters, the truth is clear. The story of the male concubine in the Ottoman harem isn't one of luxury or privilege. It is a story of quiet endurance, hidden pain, and relentless struggle. In the dazzling shadows of the Sultan's palace, survival is the only triumph. And even that comes at a heavy price. By now, you have seen every layer of this world. The cold, sleepless mornings, the relentless rules, the silent breakfasts, the endless inspections, and the all-seeing eyes of the eunuchs. You have felt the sting of hunger, the ache of bruises, the humiliation of punishments for crimes you never understood. You have watched friendships dissolve, trust become a dangerous myth, and every day's routine grind away at your sense of self. But above all, you have felt the deep and paralyzing loneliness, a loneliness so complete it can steal the sound of your own name, the taste of your mother's cooking, the shape of hope itself. The harem's rules are not just written on walls or recited by guards. They are inscribed in your heart, in the way you lower your eyes, the way you silence your own laughter, the way you turn away from every possible connection. Here, survival means not living, but slowly, quietly vanishing. Imagine facing all this, not for a week, not for a year, but every single day. Could you, who grew up with your own room, your own voice, and the right to say no, could you endure the endless surveillance? Could you bear the fear of speaking too loudly? The terror of being noticed for the wrong reason? Could you stand the numbness that sets in after months of silence and cold? In the harem, even hope can become your enemy. Want too much, and the disappointment will break you. Trust too soon, and betrayal will find you. Love it all, and you risk being used or destroyed. And yet, the cruelest truth is this. Even if you master the rules, even if you shrink yourself, small enough to hide, the palace can always take more from you. A careless rumor, a jealous rival, a single day of bad luck. Any one of these can mean the end, as sudden and silent as the closing of a door. Survival, in the end, is a matter of luck as much as willpower. And luck, in the palace, is in short. Supply. The palace is designed to erase you. Every rule, every tradition, every punishment serves the Sultan's need for control. The system is perfect in its cruelty. By demanding total obedience, it turns you into a ghost. By punishing every emotion, it makes you numb. By threatening every friendship, it keeps you alone. By rewarding betrayal, it turns you against yourself and others. The result is a world in which no one truly lives, only endures. In such a place, it is easy to lose sight of who you are. The boy who arrived with a name and a story becomes the silent, uniformed figure who blends into the crowd. Your memories become faded pictures. Your hopes become foolish fantasies. Your voice shrinks to a whisper, heard only in dreams. Why wouldn't you survive a day here? Because this isn't just a test of the body, it is a test of the soul. It is one thing to face hardship or pain, but another to face a system that demands you give up everything that makes you. You, freedom, choice, dignity, connection, identity. These are not just luxuries in the harem. They are forbidden, dangerous, and eventually forgotten. For those on the outside, the harem's world may seem beautiful. Marble walls, silk carpets, jeweled lamps, music drifting through the air. But beauty, here, is a mask. The reality beneath is harsh, unrelenting, and deeply lonely. The privileges of the palace are just another layer of chains. And yet, through it all, you see something miraculous. A stubborn spark of human spirit. Even when hope is almost gone, even when kindness is punished, and individuality erased. There are still small rebellions. A quiet song hummed after dark, a story whispered under a blanket, a memory of home held close in the mind. These are not victories, but they are proof that not even the Sultan's palace can truly kill the human soul. Tonight, as you imagine yourself lying in that cold, crowded dormitory, ask yourself, would you last a single day? Would you endure? The hunger, the fear, the constant suspicion? Could you survive the loneliness, the sameness, the silence? Could you wake up tomorrow and do it all again, knowing that every small mistake might be your last? The truth is, almost no one could. The boys and young men who lived and died in the Ottoman harem were survivors of a system that crushed most and consumed all. Their stories, mostly lost to history, are not tales of pleasure or glory, but of endurance, heartbreak, and the desperate, unbreakable will to survive even when everything is against you. So tonight, as you return to your own safe, private space, your warm bed, your freedom to choose, to speak, to love, remember this. There is nothing glamorous about life as a male concubine in the Ottoman Empire. It was not a daydream of power or privilege, but a lesson in the value of the freedoms we so easily take for granted. You wouldn't survive a day, and the fact that you don't have to is a gift bought with the suffering of all those who came before. The story of a single day as a male concubine in the Ottoman Empire is not just a tale of the past, it is a mirror held up to us in the present. When you emerge from the shadows of Topkapi's walls, when you shake off the cold grip of fear and loneliness that haunted those ancient corridors, you find yourself blinking into the light of your own life. And suddenly, all the ordinary things, the soft bed, the privacy of your room, the freedom to speak your mind, to laugh, to love feel newly precious. It's easy to romanticize the past from a distance. We see the silk and gold, the palaces and pageantry, and imagine power and pleasure. But beneath every shining surface lies a deeper story, one of people struggling, suffering, longing to be seen, and yearning for a simple dignity. The truth of the harem, its pain, and its silence reminds us of the human cost of systems that crush individuality, suppress freedom, and turn people into shadows. What does this mean for us now? It means that the things we take for granted, our ability to choose, to be ourselves, to reach out to others, are not small things at all. They are treasures won over centuries, sometimes at unspeakable cost. They are the foundation of our humanity. Perhaps the most profound lesson is this: when we value freedom, kindness, and the right to simply exist as ourselves, we honor not only ourselves, but also all those whose voices were silenced, whose names were forgotten, whose hopes were ground into dust by the machinery of history. Their suffering was not in vain if it teaches us to cherish and protect the dignity of every human being, starting with ourselves and extending to all those around us. So the next time you close your door and feel safe, the next time you call a loved one, laugh freely, or simply sit in silence, knowing you are your own person, remember the price of these gifts. And may your compassion, your empathy, and your sense of gratitude grow deeper for it. The harem's lesson is not just a warning about the past. It is a call to build a kinder, freer world, one where no one is ever forced to become a shadow, and every soul is allowed to live in the light.